Early Tennessee Settlization and Statehood by Spencer Shalhoub. The point of this digital storyboard is to explain the importance of early settlers moving westward into what is known today as the state of Tennessee through the Appalachian Mountains and Cumberland Gap, as well as their early experiences and relations with Native Americans. The man pictured here is William Blount, known at the time as the governor of the Southwest Territory, which then encompassed modern-day Tennessee and parts of Kentucky. He created a temporary capital in Piney Flats, Tennessee, but quickly moved the capital into what is today Knoxville, Tennessee, which he named himself after his friend, the Secretary of War, Henry Knox. Blount was an instrumental politician in early settlers' relations with Native Americans. He handled many dealings and treaties with natives so that the settlers could safely travel the western frontier. He had most of his success with the Treaty of Holston with Cherokee Indians. However, there were many different tribes of Indians that often did not agree and were still violent. This cabin here shows what many early settlers on the western frontier built and developed as homes. Back then it was common to erect a cabin using trees from anywhere in East Tennessee that a settler might find a piece of land that they fancied. This is a monument erected in Knoxville, Tennessee to commemorate the Native American Cherokee Indians that signed this treaty with early settlers, allowing settlers to move into the area and make homes such as ours in Knoxville, Tennessee. These monuments are very important because we should remember those that sacrificed a lot so that the land could be shared and made home, and should also serve as a reminder that the Native Americans were removed from their homes when they fought hard to keep them. This is one of the most important lessons to be learned from regarding the subject matter of early settlization. River systems, primarily the Tennessee, Cumberland, and Mississippi rivers, were vital for early settling, trade, travel, and even helped signify boundaries, such as where the land that belonged to Tennessee began and ended. Waterways were often put into treaties designed with Native American tribes as to where settlers could settle and what land still belonged to Native American tribes. Andrew Jackson, pictured here, was an early president of the United States, born in Greenville, Tennessee, who was also instrumental in negotiating with natives as well. He negotiated the famous Jackson Purchase with the Chickasaw in order to acquire all of the land in Tennessee west of the Mississippi River, and the Chickasaw were relocated to the most southeast corner of Tennessee, close to the colony of Georgia. Soon the Native American tribes and their land in the state of Tennessee were all but diminished to small sections, such as what happened to the Chickasaw Indians after the Jackson Purchase. Many of these treaties happened without much choice from the natives. Many natives were removed from their homes, and certain tribes relied still on violence and refusing to leave until absolutely forced. Some tribes fought against the colonies in the Revolutionary War in attempts to keep their land with promises from the British to leave them alone. Pictured here are Andrew Jackson and John Sevier on a very old stamp used for U.S. postage. John Sevier was also an instrumental person when it came to the founding of the state of Tennessee. He came a little bit earlier in the 1770s and tried to establish the state of Franklin unsuccessfully. Lastly, we have what the great state of Tennessee looks like today, with all of its counties and lands still spanning all the way from the Appalachian Mountains to the Mississippi River, with an entire population of 6.8 million people. And sources.